let's try this again, man. I don't know why that stream cut out, man. Is it the third world internet again? Oh man, this I had to drop the resolution, and hopefully the third world internet gives me a blind now. Like, give me a break here, third world internet. Allow me to stream without flipping locking off all the time. Christ almighty. You have to go through and sort out the settings again now. Pissed. Alright, let's hear what Joe Joyce has to say about his performance. I wonder if my PlayStation is the issue here, because my PlayStation, whenever I put God of War in, my PlayStation fan just revs up to maximum. I feel like the PlayStation gonna lift off in a minute. The fan is absolutely howling when I got God of War in. I'm not even playing the game, it's just the title screen. Absolutely howling, boy. It is a launch PS4, you know. When the PS4 came out, I've got the same PS4 the whole time, so the newer ones are probably a bit better in terms of the way they run. Alright, calling out Chisora. Oh, get your popcorn ready. Schaefer. Chafe dog. Get your popcorn ready. Oh my gosh. Banter. Cinco de Mayo. Why does it still say the other stream is live? The other stream locked off long time. On my YouTube settings here, it says it's still live. Bizarre. Am I live on 2 streams at the same time? That stream done. Okay, right. David Price always been a good analyst for me, and I think he should stick to the, the analyst game rather than continuing fighting. Right, let me get my chat back up here. Where's the chat window gone? Alright, there it is. Alright, yeah, sorry. Chat window. Stream. Okay. Yeah, Joyce destroyed Lemroy in 2 rounds. I guess that shows the difference, doesn't it? The golfing class between a Joe Joyce and Dave Allen, you know. The Boxing Roundup says, "Hi man, what's your thoughts on Matchroom Stable at the moment, or Matchroom Stable, I guess, versus the Box Nation Stable?" That's what a lot of people are talking about. I think Matchroom Stable is healthier than Box Nation Stable from a numbers perspective at the moment. Yeah, at the moment. Joshua is obviously the jewel in their crown of Matchroom, and Joshua, by association, is helping to build a lot of the other fighters into stars, because they get massive exposure when they fight on Joshua shows, you know, all these up and comers. So Matchroom is still very much in the driving seat, and this deal that Eddie Hearn is about to do, Eddie Hearn's been saying that he's got some massive announcement to make, which is gonna upset a lot of people in the world of boxing, and I think by that he means industry people. And I suspect that what he's about to announce is some type of long-term deal with one of the major networks in the US, like HBO, probably HBO. And with a long-term deal, that's going to allow Matchroom US to sign more American fighters, like top-level American fighters. So I think Matchroom are in a stronger position than Frank Warren is, definitely. I mean, Frank Warren with BT Sports, they said they were going to put on, what, 30 shows a year? I mean, they're way, way, way behind schedule in terms of the number of shows they said they were going to put on. Walt Pinkerton says it's now a BT boxing stable. BT are looking into buying Box Nation. I mean, maybe so, but as it stands right now, they don't have any pay-per-view stars. I know they're trying to do pay-per-view, that's their plan, but they don't have any pay-per-view stars right now. Tyson Fury has fought on how many pay-per-views? 1, and that was against Klitschko. And that was only because it was Klitschko. Like, it wasn't Fury who was the pay-per-view star, it was Klitschko, really, because none of Fury's previous fights had been pay-per-view, and Fury's next fight, his comeback fight, is not going to be pay-per-view. So obviously the hardcore, we know all about Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury is relatively well known nationally in the UK, but he's still not on the level of a Joshua, so they're going to need to do some building with Tyson Fury on BT Sport. Yeah, BT Sport is free, but Tyson Fury's fought on free platforms before. He fought on Channel 5 quite a few times. It all depends on how well he's promoted on them free platforms. And when Tyson Fury gets up to a certain level, if he gets up to a certain level, I'm talking about of popularity, then he's going to go pay-per-view on BT Sport Box Nation, whatever. So JP says Joyce versus White. What do you think? Good question. Good question. Um, I might actually lean towards Joyce. You know. Yeah, I might actually. People are gonna say no, Hatman. How could you lean towards Joyce over Dylan White? Again, Dylan White is much more pleasing to the eye in terms of his style, but there's something awkwardly and ugly effective about Joe Joyce. It's just he's a horrible style, but he gets results. Coppen says Fraser Clark admitted Dubois dropped him in sparring. Dropped who? Dropped Clark or dropped Joshua or dropped who? There was a rumor going around that Dubois was dropped in sparring by, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's from Kazakhstan. He's a young heavyweight. He's professional at the moment, and he stopped Tom Little. Maybe some of you guys can tell me the name of him, but there was a rumor going around that he dropped or knocked out Dubois in sparring, and they definitely sparred 100% because Dubois posted a screenshot, not a screenshot, just a picture, whatever, of them sparring at the time. So they definitely sparred, and the rumor is that Dubois got dropped or knocked out or whatever. I mean, these are heavyweights, so that's the guy copping. Yeah, Hrgovic, is that how you pronounce it? Hrgovic, yeah. There's rumors that he dropped or knocked out Dubois in sparring. Alright, who is this guy who just fought? Who cracked this guy with the left hand in the body, wearing the fly gloves? Honda Game says Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt or Nas Illmatic, Hatman. Nas Illmatic all day. Nas Illmatic all day. JW, what's good? Airzy says, why doesn't the UK disclose pay-per-view buys? I'd like to know the answer to that question myself. Rockstar 1996 says Huey has a torturous style for everyone, even though I don't like it. Yeah, he's very negative, but you know he's going to be awkward for anyone to fight, definitely, or for most people to fight. Devon Sinclair says I would love to see a full David Haye versus JoJo sparring session. Apparently they've never sparred. David Haye said he don't want to spar his own prospect. Rigando says, Hatman, will we ever see a face reveal? No. Don't hold your breath. That ain't gonna happen. I love my privacy. Carlton Palmer says Johnny Nelson basically saying Joyce has the personality of a plank of wood. Okay, Copendo9 says Clark said he himself was dropped by Dubois. There's a video on YouTube of him admitting it. Okay. Okay, Hatman, sorry if somebody asked you already, but are you staying on for the whole card? We'll see how it goes. I'm planning to, but there is someone coming round, and if they make it in time for the main event, then I might not continue the stream for the main event, but we'll see how it goes. They might not make it round in time, in which case, yeah, I'll do the whole card. Amran Man says, I can't imagine Joyce chatting to a bird. He'd probably just ask her to spar. He's awkward, but a tank. He's awkward, but a tank though still, yeah. He'd ask her to spar, you know. You guys are dark. Alright. Pricey. Always good to see Pricey, man. Abs TV says, does anybody know how I can watch the fight? Is it Sky pay-per-view? Yes, it's Sky pay-per-view. I purchased this fight uh, from the Sky website to watch it on a laptop because I'm not a Sky customer. And if you're abroad, you know, you can use a VPN, which is what I use. You can use a VPN to make it look like your location is in the UK, and then you can purchase it from the Sky box office website. Ruben says, did you have amateur fights? Yes, I did. George Milner says, Joyce versus Dubois, who wins the verbal battle? Well, definitely not the fans. The fans don't win when it's a verbal battle between those guys. Okay, Zoe Patterson. Big up Zoe Patterson. Long time. Alright. Zoe says, I can't really hear this chat as it's loud in here, but I predict a boring fight that Haye will win on points. Hope I'm wrong. We'll see. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. My stream, which is a stream I paid for from Sky, is saying we're on a short break. Back soon. I thought they would show the ad breaks. Make sure my stream comes back now. Sky, Eddie, yeah. Wesley, big up. What's good? Rashid says, Last of Us versus God of War, which is better? Well, I'm only about 3 hours in to God of War, and personally, I'm not that impressed, to be honest with you. I know this God of War has got all these different accolades and 10 out of 10s and all this kind of stuff. I haven't been that impressed by the God of War so far. It's cool, it's alright, but it isn't blowing me away right now. But as I say, I'm only 3 hours in, and the game is apparently like 15 to 20 hours long. So, long way to go. But so far, I'm not overly impressed. It's cool, you know. One of the things which is a little disappointing to me about this God of War game is some of the graphics in the game. Graphically, it's a decent looking game, but it's not up to the standard of some of the other AAA Sony exclusives. Like Uncharted 4 is way better graphically than this God of War game. Way better. And some of the graphic elements that God of War used to do very well in the past, like in God of War 3, like water and reflections. Water and reflections in this new God of War game look worse than they did in God of War 3. Like, seriously, God of War 3 on the PS3 has got better water effects and better reflections than this God of War, which is, again, kind of disappointing to me. So, you know, it's alright so far, but I haven't been blown away by it at all. I definitely prefer God of War 3 from what I've played so far of this new God of War game. Where's my stream coming back, man? I'm getting a bit anxious here. Don't you job me out of a stream here, Sky Sports. Yo. Okay, just to confirm, someone says, just to confirm, you are picking Haye on points. Yes, I'm picking Haye on points. That is my pick. That's what I'm sticking to. Haye on points. T3 Triple D says, wait till you've completed it. It's fantastic. Maybe my feelings on God of War will be different when I completed it. But so far, I haven't been overly impressed, to be honest. It hasn't overly impressed me. It's alright, but nothing to write home about so far. So I would say, long story short, oh, Frank Bruno in the house, looking dapper, the sky blue suit on, the whistle and flute. Yeah, long story short, Rashid, I would say Last of Us is a better game from what I've played so far of God of War. Alright, there's Bellew. Alright, Black Dynamite says, how come Derek Chisora sounded like a freshie? Well, he is a freshie. I mean, he's not a freshie. Well, you know what? Once a freshie, always a freshie. If you arrive in the UK or whatever when you're an adult, yeah? Because you pretty much keep your accent for life. But people who arrive in the UK when they're kids, they tend to lose their accent and stuff like that. Now, Chisora officially was something like 14 when he first moved to the UK. But as with a lot of African athletes, there's a dispute about his real age. So he probably weren't 14. He was probably like a 20-year-old man in high school. Mad, isn't it? These new Everlast gloves are interesting to me. I want to know what these fight gloves are like. These new Everlast fight gloves. I've seen the training gloves, which are a similar style. They've got the text on the back like that. Because these are not the Everlast MX. These are not the Power Locks. These are a new type of Everlast fight glove. I want to know what these are like. Stephen Whitemore says, I think The Last of Us and God of War are a bit overrated. The Last of Us is just a cover shooter and God of War is just an action adventure hack and slash. Yeah, but you can fit any game into into those pigeonholes and say, oh, that game's not that good. It's just this or it's just that. The Last of Us was a very good game, but if it wasn't for the story in The Last of Us, it wouldn't have been the game that it turned out to be. Like, the story and the characters in The Last of Us are by far the strongest point, in the game. And God of War 3, the action was just spectacular in God of War 3. It was just outlandish boss battles and constant. The music was amazing as well in God of War 3. It was just such an intense game. Like, yeah, God of War 3 was wicked. Alright, Ade says, when are you dropping the full African witchcraft interview? Your laughter it made it unbearable for the wait. On Tuesday. The witchcraft interview is on Tuesday, and there's going to be a series of African witchcraft interviews. There won't only be one, there'll be a series of them. But the first one is going to be dropping on Tuesday. That's the one that you heard the teaser for, the little snippet of me cracking up. Yeah. Amran says, Hatman, do you think Bellew's game plan is mainly based on Haye's body breaking down? I think that's so risky. It is risky. It is risky. Maybe it is based solely on that. I mean, I don't know what is in Bellew's head. I don't know what him and Dave Coldwell have worked on. But that's definitely very risky. That's like a Joe Gallagher. People who laugh about Joe Gallagher's game plans. Joe Gallagher's like, yeah, just give away the first few rounds and wait till he tires late and then stick it on him. That's a very, very risky strategy because the guy might not tire late. Sorry, did I say tower? Tire. Yeah, the guy might not tire late. So have you been watching Garcia, Hatman? I have not been watching Garcia. I've been hearing about him that he's like the fastest guy in the world and all this, but I haven't been watching him. Someone says I should put my Patreon link in the description so people can support me. I mean, if people want to support me, they can go to my Patreon and sign up or whatever. Or if they just want to donate, they can do that if they wish. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be having a separate channel for streaming, right? I've got another channel which is called The Objective Perspective, right? The Objective Perspective. And that later on in the year is going to become my exclusive streaming channel. There'll be nothing else on there other than live streams. Yeah, so all you guys should subscribe to it. If you're on my live streams, all you guys should subscribe to my other channel, The Objective Perspective. Yeah, stay sub to this one obviously, but all the live streams are going to be there on The Objective Perspective. In fact, if you want to subscribe in advance because there's no content on there yet, some of you may already be subscribed because it's just my old channel which I've rebranded. I need to actually do the artwork, sort out the artwork on that channel. But yeah, if you're not subscribed and you want to do it in advance before I start uploading there, all my live streams there, then the link is in the chat now. And on that particular channel, there'll be super chat and all that kind of business. Yeah, on the live stream channel, The Objective Perspective, because a lot of people always ask me about super chat. Well, super chat will be on that channel, on The Objective Perspective, when I'm doing live streams on there. Okay, Copendome9 says, anybody see Ryan Garcia's last fight legit talent or hype job? Again, I ain't seen him, so I'll have to wait to see him. Same Hussein says, is that the Hatman TV channel? No, it's not. No, it's not. Hutch says, why has your stream not got that support icon so your fans can send you coin on there? Well, I don't like calling people fans. Supporters, yes, not fans, because fans are fanatics. I don't want fanatics. Supporters are great, but yeah, the reason why is because I don't have super chat enabled on this particular channel. But on the other channel, The Objective Perspective, where I'm going to be doing all my live streams in the future, that will have super chat enabled. I just need to get a certain amount of subscribers on it, and then they'll unlock the... I mean, I got, what is it, 35,000 subscribers on this channel, so I should be able to get, 2,000 subscribers up on the other channel in like a day or two or something if I publicize it. So yeah, and then they'll give me the super chat ability on that channel and what have you. Snapchat Entertainment says, Hatman, I'm enjoying the Patreon content. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support, bro. Glad you're enjoying the content. Yes, Leo O'Brien, big up, big up, big up. From Trinidad. Rashid says, Garcia is a hype job, no head movement. His head is like a pineapple on a stick. He's like Khan. He throws punches with his chin up in the air and his defense is whack. Okay. Alright, I know you've been very forceful about this, Rashid, that this Garcia is a hype job, but as I say, I ain't seen him fight, so I really can't comment on it, but I know you're 100% convinced that Garcia's a hype job. Pemby's Gaming World, long time. What time is the fight? I'm guessing the fight might be like 10. That's just a rough guess, Pemby. I'm not 100% sure. Alright, somebody says the Sky Sports stream is poor, used to be better on the Cody box. My stream is actually okay at the moment. There's the odd glitch now and again, like, I don't know, every couple of minutes there might be a 1 second glitch, but other than that, it's been pretty good. And I've bought pay-per-views online, and I've bought the Sky Sports pay-per-view stream online a few times in the past, and it's always been good. And I like the oh, good shot. Okay, I'm looking at this Butler Rodriguez fight here. Just randomly. I wasn't even talking about what was going on the screen with the boxing. Harry's Cupboard Music says, I've got Haye round 5 KO over Bellew. Hang on. Or Bellew 10th round stoppage. Okay, so you're going for Haye early, mid rounds, or Bellew late. Look, I mean, Bellew won the first fight, so anybody who's picking Bellew to win this fight, I ain't got no problem with that. I can't say it's a ridiculous prediction. He won the first fight, and Haye is not anything like he used to be. So, you know, anyone picking Bellew is a perfectly legitimate pick as far as I'm concerned. I'm personally picking Haye, but hey, if you're picking Bellew, it is what it is. You know, it's not ridiculous to pick him. He won first time around. Leo O'Brien says, Hatman, do you think that Wilder is trying to cash out his WBC belt for as much money as possible in the event that he loses? I think his people, his team are trying to do that. Yeah, I think his team are trying to do that. Definitely. Wilder himself, I get the impression, is a warrior and a brave guy, but his team are concerned. You know, his team understand that this is their make or break opportunity to really cash in on Deontay Wilder. So they want to make the most out of it that they can. You know, they took the risk with Ortiz because Ortiz is an Al Heyman fighter. So regardless of who won the fight, Al Heyman was the winner. Whereas with Joshua, he's obviously not Heyman. He's a completely different promoter from a completely different promoter, completely different country. So they want to make sure they're getting adequately financially compensated before they take that risk. Copen says Joe G facing another L with Butler. I like Joe Gallagher, aka Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He looks like Splinter, innit, Joe Gallagher? Let's be real. There's something comical about the guy. I like Joe Gallagher for his entertainment value. I like him. Mike Henry says, are you going to be streaming the fight from your channel? Hell no. From my channel. I don't know if you're asking me or if you're asking this Deadpool live streams guy. I ain't going to be streaming it from my channel. That's the quickest way to get your channel shut down in a day. I ain't going to be doing that. Yeah, Amran says, have you seen the fine you can get for streaming? Yeah, I remember some guy getting fined like, was it hundreds of thousands or something for for sharing his box office online? Like, yo, man, can't be doing stuff like that. You're looking at crazy fines, losing your house, jail time, and all kinds of nonsense now for streaming. They're not playing about. Gregor Scott says, I think Bellew is going to come in too confident and walk into a trap set by the more cautious Haye. I'm betting Haye round 3. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Haye has definitely got the power to knock Bellew out. But Bellew knows he's got the power. You know, Bellew knows he's got the power. Ricky says, can you answer me what time? I'm guessing the main event might start in an hour and 40 minutes, which will be about 10 p.m. UK time. I'm guessing. You know, don't hold me to that. Okay, Danielle says, what's your take on MMA? Do you follow it? Can I hope for any videos on it in future? I won't be doing many videos on it because no, I don't really follow it. But my take on MMA is that I respect MMA. I respect the fighters. I'm glad that it exists. I did watch the very, very early UFC tournaments. Yeah, like UFC 1, UFC 2, because I was fascinated to see how a kickboxer would do against a judo guy, how a sumo guy would do against you know, a jiu-jitsu guy. I was fascinated by all that. But now, you know, it's evolved a lot, and a lot of it is more wrestling than it was in the early days. So I don't really find it that entertaining to watch MMA, to be honest. But obviously I massively respect the fighters and I massively respect the sport. So that's my take on it. Coppen says, does Haye still have the power if he can't throw straight anymore? Yeah, he still has the power. He just can't throw certain shots as well as he used to. So he'll have to throw looping shots to get the power, which are easier to see and easier to counter. You rotate your body in such a way that you throw yourself out of position more when you're throwing looping shots as opposed to straight shots. So yeah, Haye's still got the power, but it's whether David Haye is going to be loading up as much as he was last time. You know, and David Haye is a guy who likes to load up regardless. You know, all throughout David Haye's prime years, he would load up so much in some of his punches that he'd throw himself off balance when he missed. If you watch the John Ruiz fight, for example, when he was going at John Ruiz, he would often miss a shot and go totally off balance and out of position because he was putting so much into the punches. He fights in a very intense way, David Haye, and that's one of the reasons he gets injured, because he trains very intense, he fights very intense, and that's going to take a toll on your body. In this fight, I'm not expecting David Haye to be so intense, so the lack of intensity might take a little bit away from his power, but I think the power is there when he wants to step on the gas and, you know, throw that looping right hand rather than throw it straight. I think there's still going to be plenty of power in it. Yeah, Stephen Whitemore says he landed one of the sweetest 1-2s ever on Ruiz. He did. That was going backwards. He was backing up. Ruiz was coming onto him. He cracked him with a 1-2 and down went John Ruiz. It was a wicked, you know, wicked combination, wicked shot. Steve Gannon says, what's the name of your other YouTube channel that you mentioned a few minutes ago? The other YouTube channel is called The Objective Perspective. I'll put the link in the description again now. Or not in the description, in the chat, sorry. Right, the link is in the chat now. That's the link to my other YouTube channel, The Objective Perspective. I'm going to be doing live streams over there in future exclusively. All the live streams will be on that channel, The Objective Perspective. There won't be anything else on there other than live streams. Alright, Khalid says, what kind of power would Stevenson have at heavyweight, and how does he compare to Haye's power? Well, he definitely ain't got nothing like Haye's power. Nothing like Haye's power. But Stevenson's left hand is very, very, very fine-tuned. Very fine-tuned. What I mean by that is the technique that Stevenson has on his left hand for generating power is extremely good. Yeah, the way he rotates his hips, the way he turns the left hand over, the body position that he gets in when he throws the left hand. I remember watching his rematch with Fonfara just the other day, and Stevenson missed the left hand, and when he missed it, he nearly bent his whole upper body over completely, because that's how much force he was putting into the left hand, and that's a straight left hand, not a looping shot. It's almost like his face was nearly on the floor. You understand? Because he was putting so much torque into that straight left hand when he missed it. So, yeah, basically what I'm saying is, it will be difficult for anyone to get more of their body weight into a left hand, into a straight shot, than Stevenson gets into his. So for a guy who weighs, 12.5 stone, 175 pounds, it'll be difficult to get more body weight, more of that 175 pounds behind the punch than Stevenson gets behind his left hand when he throws it at full velocity. And so I would say there are certain heavyweights that Stevenson will hit harder than, definitely. But when you're talking about the likes of Wilder, David Haye, Stevenson certainly don't hit anywhere near as hard as those guys, because they do something similar. They throw all their body weight into shots too, but they got so much more weight behind their shots. Whereas a guy like Joshua, for example, he doesn't really launch himself into punches like that. So pound for pound, Joshua won't hit as hard as a Stevenson or even a David Haye, pound for pound. He don't launch himself into shots like that. T-Money Official says, how can you improve punching power? You work on technique. That's the main thing I can tell you. You work on technique, and you also do a lot of bag work. Yeah. And also, one thing which people neglect to do when it comes to working on punching power is do a lot of shadow boxing. And when I say a lot, I'm talking about 12 rounds. And doing 12 rounds of shadow boxing, you're not just trying to get loads of punches out there and work rate. No. You're not supposed to do that. When you're doing the 12 rounds of shadow boxing, you're working on your technique. You're trying to throw the punches while you're shadow boxing as fast and as snappy and powerful as possible. You're supposed to be thinking about, okay, if I get my legs in this position, bend my knees a bit and get proper rotation, I can get more purchase on this right hand. I can get more purchase on this left hook. And it's a long process of refining your technique, refining the rotation of your hips, your legs, body position, how far apart your feet are, because it's going to be different for every person, and just fine-tuning it and understanding how you need to position your body in order to generate maximum power from every punch. And shadow boxing is very, very, very effective when it comes to improving technique for punching power. And once you've improved certain things technically when you're shadow boxing, transfer it over to the bag and do a lot of bag work, and make sure you're hitting a bag that doesn't fly away when you hit it. So, depending on how big you are, you might want to use a very, very heavy bag and do a lot of heavy bag work. Most of the biggest punchers of all time were guys who hit the heavy bag a lot. Now, a lot of trainers these days don't like their fighters doing a lot of heavy bag work. That's what I noticed. They prefer their fighter to do a lot of mitt work. And even when they do hit the heavy bag, most guys who hit the heavy bag now are just tapping it. Like a Mayweather, he just taps it. So many of these fighters now, they just tap the heavy bag. They use it as a fitness, a piece of fitness equipment rather than for developing power. But if you look at guys like Mike Tyson, if you look at George Foreman, you know, a lot of these tremendous punchers from days gone by, they would stand in front of the heavy bag for, you know, 12 rounds, 13 rounds, 15 rounds, practicing power on the heavy bag, not trying to get a million punches out, which is what a lot of trainers tell you. Oh, come on, work rate, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, left. No, forget all that nonsense. Quality over quantity. If you're trying to improve your power, work on throwing heavy, powerful shots on the heavy bag for prolonged periods. Working on your technique, thinking about your positioning, turning the shots over, making sure that you're making a tight fist at the moment of impact, making sure that you're landing on a knuckle part, making sure that everything is lining up in terms of the rotation, you know, turning the shot over at the point of impact, all this kind of stuff. Some people have power naturally, you know, they have all this, they just have a natural aptitude for throwing punches in a particular way. But for those who don't, you can improve your punching power if you're dedicated to understanding the technical adjustments you need to make, and obviously conditioning your body to punch harder too. Yeah, bag work is essential. A lot of bag work, focusing on power, and shadow boxing, very important. Yeah, that's what I'll tell you. Pads, hitting pads really doesn't tend to help power that much in my experience. It will help your speed and sometimes your balance, but hitting pads usually doesn't do much for your punching power. Yeah, George Foreman used to destroy the heavy bag. George Foreman used to have his trainer hold the heavy bag, and Foreman would throw one punch continuously, like a right hook, right hook, right hook, right hook. That's all Foreman would do. Then he'd switch to the other hand, left hook, and he'd do this continuously for round after round. That's very similar to what Triple G does. If you watch Gennady Golovkin on the pads, yeah, most people on the pads is these fast, snappy combinations, moving around, all very flashy. But a lot of the pad work that Triple G does with Abel Sanchez focuses on power, not getting 1,000 punches out, but focusing on quality, power, accurate, cleanly delivered punches. Yeah, especially when Golovkin's hitting the punch shield rather than the pads. He's just going for big, booming, powerful shots. He works on his power, Golovkin, all the time, and he's not worried about throwing 1,000,000 shots during a session. You know, this is a classic mistake so many trainers make, is they get fighters to throw 1,000,000 shots and they concentrate on quantity instead of concentrating on quality. And that's one of the differences actually in the amateur system between the Eastern Europeans and what I've found in the British amateur system. Is in the Eastern European amateur system, they teach their fighters quality over quantity from a very young age. They're not trying to get you to throw 1,000,000 flipping shots. They're trying to get you to sit down on your shots and throw quality and not worry about work rate so much. Yeah, these guys are in fantastic physical condition. They'll get them to do the sprints and the runs and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the punching, they're trying to get you to throw quality rather than quantity. And that's why you see these Eastern Europeans, like, I mean, Golovkin's actually Asian, but still, former Soviet countries, you see fighters like Kovalev, Golovkin, Beterbiev. Most of them are relatively low volume guys who concentrate on quality. The one exception would be Vasyl Lomachenko, who's a very high volume guy, but he's just an exceptional talent. Yeah, generally the Eastern European guys are relatively low volume but very high quality punches, and they punch hard. Whereas you see a lot of the British fighters, they come out throwing 1,000,000 punches, and the shots are not very good quality. They don't tend to be particularly hard punches, etc. I'm talking in general terms here. I'm not saying for everybody. Snapchat Entertainment says, Hatman, do you think it's better to do intervals like 30 seconds non-stop, then rest again for 3 minutes of punching, then rest? It all depends on your style of fighting, and your style of fighting should be dictated by your natural aptitudes. You know, for example, I'm somebody who was a very good sprinter from when I was young. I was a sprinter, but when it came to long distance, I was never very good at long distance. I was always a very good athlete in school as a child, but sprinting was my thing. Sprinting, lifting heavy things, stuff like that. Short, sharp, explosive movement and explosive bursts of strength and power. I wasn't good at having prolonged, runs and stuff like that. It was never my thing. And so that translated into my boxing style and my training style, because I focused on short, sharp, bursts of aggression. I wouldn't just stay on the bag throwing continuous punches for 3 minutes. I'd move around, I'd jab, then I'd throw a very fast, powerful combination. Then I'd move my head, work on my feet, and then go in and throw. Sometimes, just for fitness, I would stay on the bag for 3 minutes. Okay, just for a cardio workout. But generally, when I was on the bag, I wouldn't be throwing constant punches. I'd be moving around, throwing very hard explosive bursts, and then moving off. So again, that was based upon my natural aptitude. I had a natural tendency to be an explosive guy with fast twitch muscles and all that. I wasn't a marathon runner. My build was never conducive to doing long distance running, and wouldn't have been conducive to doing Jarrett Hurd or Antonio Margarito style boxing. So you have to work out what your natural aptitudes are, and then build a training regime which enhances your natural aptitudes, which makes the most of them. If you're a guy who's not that explosive, but you can be very high volume like a Joe Joyce, then run with that. That's what Joyce has done. He's run with the fact that he's a very high volume guy. He can outwork everybody else. Run with that. Yeah, they're trying to make him a bit more explosive here and there. Of course, you try and improve on the weaknesses, but he's never going to be Mr. Explosive, Joyce. He's always going to be Mr. Volume at the end of the day. And so work with that volume. Have a training routine which accentuates that volume. There's no one size fits all method to training. There is no one size fits all method to training, I'll tell you that. Different strokes for different folks. Daniel says, Hatman, in a recent video you said you were a big puncher. What weight class were you in when you were fighting competitively? I was super heavyweight. Kira Malcolm says, Hatman, will you ever become a coach? Possibly. Yeah, possibly I will. Possibly. Might see me in someone's corner. I won't reveal that it's me. You might see me in one of these professional fighters' corners one day, and IFL come up to me trying to interview me, and I'll be like wearing some dark glasses and a hat or something. Trying to stay super low key. Snapchat Entertainment said, did you see Joshua beat Mo Farah in a 100-meter race? It wasn't even close. Nah, I didn't see it. I'm not in the least bit surprised. Little Jacob says, Hatman, are you close or far away from your fighting weight? I mean, I'm probably like maybe 14 pounds off my fighting weight, something like that. So not particularly close, but for a heavyweight it's not that far away, 14 pounds off. In God We Trust says, are you Shannon Briggs' brother? Obviously not. Obviously not. Alright, John99 says, Hatman, what was your amateur boxing record? I had about 30 odd fights, 34, 35 fights, lost 6. Lil Jacob says, Hatman, you have a distinctive voice. If you're being interviewed, we would know. Well, I'll have to work on maybe coming with a new accent or something, or something like that. You know, I put on a yardie accent when I'm a trainer. Snapchat Entertainment says, Hatman, I'm 21 and I'm starting training boxing this year. Do you think it's too late for a career? Not at all. Not at all. Anthony Joshua only started boxing when he was around that kind of age. So, no, it's not too late at all. Right. I hope this fight ends in a knockout soon because I want to see the main event. What comes after this? What's the schedule, by the way? Somebody posted the schedule up in my Facebook group. I want to know what the schedule is because, you know, what we at? We're at 20 to 9 right now. Okay, same says the main event starts at 10:30. Man, that's a long time to wait. 10:30, man. We're still at 2 hours off. Jeez. So what is the schedule? What fights are they gonna have in between then and now? Okay, Ryder versus Cox. That's a good fight. Yeah, I'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. Bellew. Hey, I'm gonna Google this right now. Schedule. I think Jamie Cox is going to win this fight against John Ryder. John Ryder is the better boxer, but John Ryder just seems to lack something mentally. You know, he never seems to go the extra mile. When a fight is there for the taking, John Ryder just tends to sit back and not go for it. So I do think he's the better boxer than Jamie Cox, but Cox is a guy who's going to go for it when it's there. He's going to go for it. Dark Knight says, do you know who Money Powell is? I saw his IFL interview the other day, but I've never watched him fight. Copen says, Prince Patel won again tonight. He won the WBA European Bantamweight title, so I guess he's heading for a top 15 ranking with the WBO. Who is he with now, Prince Patel? Little Jacob says, Hatman, this is way off topic. What's your thoughts on Kanye's controversial comments on slavery? I spoke about this the other day in a Patreon post that I did. And, you know, Kanye's just, he's not well, man. He's not well in the head. That's all I can tell you. He's not well. He ain't been well for a long time. Stephen Whitemore says, why do you think they denied Rio Ferdinand his pro license? It's not easy to get a pro license in the UK. Lots of people, lots of relatively experienced amateurs get turned down for pro licenses in the UK. It's not easy. So the fact that Rio Ferdinand is like 40 years old and he's never had an amateur fight, hardly surprising that he got turned down. You know, could be for any number of different reasons. His age, the fact that he's not really competent, maybe he had bad eyes. I mean, it could be any number of different reasons. Mike Dawes says you have to listen to the whole Kanye interview. Yeah, maybe. I mean, my understanding of what Kanye said is that basically slavery was a choice because people made a choice to acquiesce. You know, people made a choice to be intimidated by the violence, and, you know, the slaves had the numbers. But it's just such a ridiculous thing to say. Everybody has the numbers, right? Like, everybody has the numbers, but it's who has the guns. Not about who has the numbers. When you got guns and you're organized, you can take people down, mass numbers of people down. It's not about numbers. You look at the Spanish conquistadors when they arrived in Mexico. They were massively outnumbered by the native population, but they had guns and the natives didn't. And the natives fought as hard as they could, but they were ultimately overwhelmed. You know, so all this stuff about the numbers is just stupidity. It's complete stupidity. Who has the guns, man? Yeah, the 300 Spartans were all killed. so, you know, they might not have cared about numbers, but they were killed. Yeah, I'm sure there are a few. Of course, numbers. Clappy says numbers don't matter. Of course, numbers matter. There might be some battles where, you know, numbers can overwhelm guns, but the majority of the time they can't. Yeah. The black South Africans lost ultimately the battle against the colonialists. They didn't win. They lost. Same as throughout Africa. They didn't have guns, and so you know, they lost. They suffered horrible defeats. Of course, numbers matter. You know, I mean, guns matter. Sorry, guns over numbers. You know, if you got the guns to subjugate people, then, you know, it is what it is. So that's what the whole, you know, slavery situation was, man. Like, I mean, do you know the kind of things they did to slaves? Do you know the kind of tortures, the punishments that they had for slaves? I mean, never mind slavery. Go look at the 100 years after slavery. Go look up pictures of black people being lynched and having their body parts chopped off and hung from trees. This was happening after slavery, right? So just imagine what was going on during slavery. There's pictures you can see on Google of black people being hung from trees in America, where they've set a fire beneath them to burn them alive. You know how deep the brutality was? And that's after slavery. In slavery, it was even worse brutality. And this is what frightens people. This is how you subjugate people, by doing these kind of things. This is how you keep a larger population in line, by traumatizing them. Okay, if any of you rebel, we're gonna do this to you. Yeah, I mean, look at any dictatorship in the world. The dictatorship is a minority, right? The police are a minority in the dictatorship. The army's a minority in a dictatorship, but yet they manage to subjugate the entire population. So, anyway, back to the boxing, because that's more a topic for my Patreon stuff. But, you know, Kanye, I mean, I don't take Kanye serious, man. He's not well. He's not well. Is this fight still going on? Why can't I find the schedule, man? Little Jacob is exactly right. Stay away from the Kardashians, man. There's something not right about them. There's something not right about them. Where is the schedule, man? I can't find it no more either. I'm looking for the somebody posted the schedule, man, but I can't find the schedule no more. I can go to a box rec and look it up, but it won't necessarily give the accurate order of when the fights are taking place. They're not always accurate in terms of the order, and they don't give the times as well. They don't give you the times. But who's fighting right now is Butler against Rodriguez is right now. You see, on the this is the bizarre thing. I'm looking at the box rec schedule, And on the BoxRec schedule, it has Butler versus Rodriguez as top of the bill. See, the BoxRec schedule is just all wonky, man. It doesn't have it all in sequential order. It's so weird. But yeah, after this, there should only be one more fight according to this BoxRec anyway, or two more fights. Money Powell is set to fight. It says here that's still a scheduled contest that hasn't happened yet. It's unusual for Money Powell, if he actually hasn't fought, to be fighting so high up the bill. Maybe that was a requisite of Richard Schaefer. I don't know, because he's one of Schaefer's fighters. Money Powell. Money Powell the fourth. What a name, boy. So yeah, hopefully this Butler Rodriguez fight is over relatively quickly. Then we can move on to Ryder against Cox. Ryder Cox is, I'm looking forward to that. I like the fact that Jamie Cox is so intense. He comes out and tries to take people's heads off. I like that. The Budgemeister says, Hatman, have you got a bet on? No, I don't. I'm not a betting man, actually. I sometimes talk about betting odds from time to time, but I'm not a betting man. And I'm picking Haye to win on points. Andy McCracken says, or Andy Macken, Anthony, sorry. Which weight division excites you the most today, Hatman? The heavyweight division, and then the light heavyweight division. Heavyweight and light heavyweight, and then maybe after that cruiserweight. Those three divisions I like. Joe Slatar says, has the Joyce fight already happened? Yes, it has. Joyce knocked him out in, what was it, 2-3 rounds? He knocked out Leroy Thomas. Zeem Khan says, why pick Haye? Because I think Haye is going to box more sensibly this time. And if he boxes sensibly and uses his reach advantage, he'll be able to outbox Tony Bellew. That's why I'm picking Haye. He can knock Bellew out if he manages to land the right punch. But I've got a feeling Bellew is also going to be quite cautious. So I think it's going to be two relatively cautious guys. Haye's going to be, I think, a bit cautious because he's going to be thinking about his stamina and he's going to be worried about injuring himself. And Bellew's going to be cautious, I think, because he is worried about David Haye's punching power, just as he was in the first fight. Yeah, Tony Bellew was cautious in the first fight. It's only when David Haye's leg went in the 6th round or whatever it was that Bellew jumped on him. But prior to that, Bellew was very, very cautious through the first 5 rounds. And even after David Haye injured his leg, when David Haye started getting in, some semblance of a boxing construct back together, Bellew went back to being cautious again. And Bellew's got a history of cautiousness in fights. Yeah, you look at him when he fought Stevenson. He fought cautiously against Stevenson. You look at the rematch that he had with, what's the Jamaican guy called? Orville McKenzie. Look how cautious he was in the rematch against Orville McKenzie. Yeah, he's got a history of fighting like that. So that's why I suspect, I don't know this, I'm not Nostradamus, but I suspect that Bellew's going to continue to fight cautiously and Haye is going to fight more cautiously than he did first time around. And there might be moments of excitement and action, but I think overall it's going to be quite a cagey fight. That's what I'm expecting. We'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I'm expecting quite a cagey fight. Samba King 7 says, just watched the 10th round of the first fight on your recommendation. No way did Haye win that round, Hatman. I made a mistake. It wasn't the 10th round, it was the 9th round that I was thinking of. Alright, Samba King. So go watch the 9th round. The 9th round, not the 10th. I said it was the penultimate round. It was a mistake. It was the 9th round that I was thinking of in my head. Yeah. The 9th round of the first Haye Bellew fight. David Haye clearly wins the round on one leg. when he's tired, when he can't really get any power in his shots, on one leg, David Haye wins the 9th round against Tony Bellew in the first fight. And if you're betting on Bellew, doesn't that 9th round make you concerned? The fact that Haye could win a round so clearly on one leg? Of course I think about the first 5 rounds. And the first 5 rounds, again, Haye won them. He won them. And he also won, clearly, the 9th round. Clearly won that to me. Alright, Black Dynamite says, should boxing stop at heavyweight? Same Hussein says, I thought Haye won 2 rounds when he was injured. Yeah. And isn't that worrying if you're backing Tony Bellew, that Haye won at least a round, maybe 2 rounds when he was injured? Isn't that concerning? Devon Sinclair says, I think Andy Ruiz Jr. is very underrated and would beat White. I think he would beat White too. I think he's underrated. I think the fat boy can fight. You know? I think fat boy can fight. Chris Smalley says Haye could get it done early. Yeah, he could. But we have to look at, probabilities. Haye has the power to get it done at any time if he lands the shot. But will he land the shot? Will the shot be available? Will the opportunity present itself for Haye to land the shot early? That's the thing. Bellew was going to be, I think, trying to ensure that Haye doesn't get the opportunity to land the shot early in the fight, just like he did in the first fight. Sean 5 says, Hatman, have you played through God of War yet? I'm about 3 hours in to God of War. About 3 hours in. Maybe a bit over that now. 3, maybe 4 hours in. Alright, Swan says Andy Ruiz is mentally weak. After the Parker fight, he got depressed because people were calling him fat. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, if I was as fat as Andy Ruiz, I might be depressed. I try not to be too harsh on people that, suffer from obesity. Because if you've been obese all your life, it's very difficult to lose the weight. If you're someone who has been relatively fit all your life, but you go through something later on in life where you become obese, it's easier to lose the weight because you've known a time in your life when you were normal, when you weren't obese, and you've always been relatively active. But if you're a guy who's always been obese from childhood, and I'm assuming Andy Ruiz has been that way, it's very hard to get the weight off, man. Like, it's very, very hard. So I don't want to be too hard on Andy Ruiz in that regard. It's probably very, very tough for him, being fat all his life. And if you are fat all your life like that, trying your best, but you've been fat from a child, you're going to get depressed. You know what I mean? You're going to get depressed, bro. So you should be thankful that you weren't obese growing up as a child. I'm certainly thankful. I was always a very athletic kid, but I remember in school there was obese kids. In primary school there was a couple kids that were just obese, and one of them in particular stayed obese I think he's probably still obese now. And didn't like being that way, but you know. Okay, we're on round 12. Thank God, man. Jesus. George Milner says, did you see Big Nasty on Ultimate Boxer? No, I did not. I did not. Kasim says, Hatman, what do you think of the new God of War? As I said, I'm about 3 or 4 hours in, and it's okay at the moment, but nothing special. Same Hussein says Lawrence Okoli was quite obese, wasn't he? I don't know whether he was obese. He said he was overweight. I can't remember if he said he was obese. Look, there are some obese people who manage to lose the weight, but the majority of obese people who are obese from childhood, they don't manage to lose it. It's very, very difficult for them. Very difficult. And they tend to stay fat all their lives, as hard as they try, you know. So for some people it's easier to lose weight than others, and for someone who's been obese from childhood, it must be much more difficult for them to lose the weight than it is for us. Do you understand? So I don't want to be too harsh on the guy. If he's a guy like you know, a Tyson Fury, or you know, a Riddick Bowe, a guy who is relatively athletic but has just let himself go through bad living, then you can be harsh on a guy like that, because you know that they can get in shape. You know that they have been in shape before. But Ruiz is not that kind of guy. He's always been fat. Little Jacob says, Hatman, what do you know about the risk of neurological damage you can sustain in boxing? Would you ever pursue a career in boxing if you could turn back the clock? I mean, I don't like to deal with hypotheticals and, you know, if you could turn back the clock and all that kind of business, because it is what it is, you know. Obviously I wanted to turn professional. I wanted to be one of these guys that we're watching on TV right now, but it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't supposed to be, for, you know, various different reasons. So, you know, I'm not bitter about that. I accept my lot and just go with the flow, you know. But as far as the neurological damage, yeah, I mean, that's why it's so important to develop a good defense in boxing, because you don't want to be slurring your speech and drinking all your meals through a straw when you get older. You don't want to be doing that. So you want to have a good defense, and you want to try and make as much money as you can in as short a time period as possible, and then get out. Harry Morgan says, is it a genetic or lifestyle problem for Andy Ruiz? Both. Both. It's both. Oh, there's Adam Booth. The Dark Lord. I used to love the old Adam Booth days, you know, when David Haye was with Booth and George Groves was with Booth, and Booth used to do them interviews with Kugan Cassius. I used to love them days. I only just noticed now, yeah, was it Paul Butler or was it Rodriguez who was wearing the Mexican MX Everlast? They said those were banned in the UK. Everyone was trying to say that those were banned. One of those fighters, he was either who was wearing the black gloves? Was it Rodriguez or Butler? Because I haven't been really paying attention to this fight, but I just noticed the gloves then. They were wearing the MX Everlast, which is supposedly banned in the UK. So maybe they're not banned. Maybe that was just some rumor that somebody pulled out of their butt crack. We'll see in the highlights who was wearing the Mexican Everlast, the MX. Okay, same Hussein said it was Rodriguez wearing them. Alright, so that it can't be banned then. Unless that was a specific concession that the British board made for Rodriguez. Maybe they said, okay, well, Rodriguez ain't going to come over unless he can wear his Mexican MX. His Everlast MX. He ain't going to come over to fight, so we'll have to make a concession for him. I don't know. But he was definitely wearing Mexican, you know, the Mexican Everlast, the MXs. Oh, the in-betweeners guy. The in-betweeners dude. He's a weird looking guy, man. His face, he's a weird looking dude. Alright, Tiny Temper trying to look like some kind of sensei. Is that Ian Wright? Hmm. Hmm. Swan says, how much do you make from YouTube? I'm not allowed to discuss how much I make from YouTube. And I mean, I'm literally contractually not allowed to discuss how much I make from YouTube. I'm with a YouTube multi-channel network, and they, in their contract that I had to sign when I signed up with them, they say you're not allowed to disclose how much money you make. It's your, so publicly anyway. Obviously in private, but publicly I'm not allowed to talk about that. Okay, Michael says it was Butler wearing the black gloves. Alright, well, I guess we'll see in some of the replays here, and we'll be able to establish whether it was Butler or Rodriguez that was wearing the MX. Saeed says, Hatman, who wins? Prime Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe. I'm going to say Lennox Lewis. If you want a rough estimate of how much any YouTube channel earns, go to a website called Social Blade. Yeah, it's called Social Blade. Type in the name of the channel and it will bring up statistics for the channel, and they give earning statistics. And I would say they give an earnings estimate for a channel, a yearly earnings estimate, and they give a low estimate and a high estimate. Somewhere in the middle is about accurate. That's what I'll tell you. If you go to Social Blade and look up any channel, somewhere in the middle of the low and high estimate is what the channel will actually be earning, in my experience. But different channels are with different networks, and different networks give you a bigger share than others. Do you understand? So you can't really say it's so much money for every 1,000 views, because it depends what deal you have with your network. All right, let's see the this Cox and Ryder fight. Let's see this fight. Alright, Lil Jacob says, would you recommend God of War? I'm in two minds whether to buy it. You know, I bought it just as something to play, because I don't really play on my PS4 too much these days, so I thought, you know what, let me just buy a game. I wasn't that enthusiastic about buying it, to be honest, because from what I'd seen of it, it wasn't really exciting me. So I don't know, it depends how much money you want to have to just spend on something you don't really care about. If you don't mind spending however much it is to buy the game, and you're not really that excited for it, then spend it. I mean, the game's alright, it's not a bad game at all, but it's just not lighting up my world, you know. But it's cool. Right, there are people in the chat asking me, when am I gonna start streaming the fight? If you look at the name of this stream, it says live reaction. Yeah, this is not where you watch the fight. This is my live reaction to the fight. That's why it says live reaction. There will be no footage of the fight here. I'm not looking to have my channel shut down. I'm not looking to get fined 80 grand by Sky. Like, I'm not going to be showing the channel the fight here, people. Man says, what a waste of time. Well, to save yourself wasting the time, you should read the video title. Read the video title. It says live reaction. Do you know what that means? Jesus. Okay. My man wants to join the block party. Okay, let me oblige you, bro. Let me put you on the block party. Alright, the Haymaker is speaking now. Let's see what the Haymaker's saying. Is it just me, or is David Haye hilarious? Like, David Haye has always made me laugh. His demeanor and everything is just funny. He's not trying to be funny, but I don't know, there's just something funny about him to me. He always cracked me up. Don't get me wrong, David Haye has been a liar, a compulsive liar over the years and whatnot, but he's just hilarious, man. Like when he said Bellew was it looked like something out of Lord of the Rings. You know, the whole Audley Harrison one-sided as a gang rape thing, and the Derek Chisora, he glassed me incident. That was hilarious, man. David Haye is a low-key comedian, man. Slightly a comedian. Yeah, when he talks, his eyes are so wide. Yeah, he has like a really animated facial expressions. Haye is hilarious. He's hilarious, and he's always talking about violent knockout. He cracked me up when he's not talking about violent knockouts. Oh, Haymaker. Shout out to David Russ. Alright, there was someone that got a shout out here. Alex Smith, okay, please give a shout out to Jen from Garston. Okay, shout out to Jen from Garston. Shout out from Hatman to Jen from Garston. Big up. Shout out. Thank you for the support. Saeed says, Hatman, any plans to expand the channel like IFL and Seconds Out? No, not really. I think my channel has its own lane. Channels of my type have their own lane, and rather than trying to branch out into the lane of an IFL or Seconds Out, who both do a fantastic job, I think I should evolve my own channel, definitely, which I 100% I'm going to do, but I won't be evolving it to end up being like IFL and Seconds Out. It's never going to be a channel like those. There might be, some elements of what they do, but it's never going to be completely like what they do. My channel is in a different kind of category to what their channels are. What I do is slightly different, and one of the advantages of having a channel like mine as opposed to a Seconds Out or IFL is I don't have to sit on the fence as much, because IFL and Seconds Out have to maintain some type of relationship with the fighters who they interview on a regular basis, and because they have to maintain this relationship, they're often reluctant to be overly critical. They're often reluctant to, go certain areas when analyzing the fights of these fighters and what have you. So that's the advantage that channels like mine have, is because we don't have to maintain these relationships with fighters, we don't have to hold our tongue as much. Seco, is that how you pronounce it? Seco, big up from Barbados. Yes, thank you for tuning in. Adam F. Patrick says, watch Haye's movement and footwork, or lack of, could be key. See. Some of you guys are dark, Devon Sinclair talking about Bellew versus Joyce would have been a good fight. Oh, look in the background. Behind Paulie is Carl Froch and David Haye's dad. The guy with the white beard and dreadlocks, that's David Haye's dad. Haye's dad. Graham McCann, big up from Berlin. Yes. Alright, Ryder Cox is on next. They're about to do the ring walks. Magic Messi says, Hatman, the most overrated boxer of all time. Man, that's a deep question. There are so many overrated fighters, but overrated doesn't mean a fighter's not good. You have to first establish what you mean by overrated. Do you mean someone who's just rubbish, or do you mean someone who is widely regarded as being better than they really are? So depends what you mean by overrated. I think Rocky Marciano was overrated. I think Mike Tyson was overrated by a lot of his fans. And that's not to say Rocky Marciano and Tyson weren't both excellent fighters. They were. But were they as good as all the hype makes them out to be? Especially with Tyson. I don't think so. There are so many Tyson fans who are adamant that if Costamado hadn't died and if Tyson had stayed with Kevin Rooney, that he would have gone 100-0. I mean, what kind of ridiculous claim is that? To say, if he hadn't left Kevin Rooney, he would have gone 100-0 undefeated. I mean, it's just stupid stuff like that. Stupid stuff like that. I mean, already we've got someone here saying Mike Tyson overrated, and he's outraged. Yes, Mike Tyson was overrated It doesn't mean he's not good. He was a very, very. Here we go. We got a Tyson, Tyson fat boy. Someone speak to this guy. Someone speak to this guy, bro. Tyson. He says Mike Tyson is the greatest fighter ever. Okay, okay, bro. Don't have a cow, man. Tyson was overrated. Yes, a very good fighter. My favorite heavyweight to watch was Mike Tyson. He was, explosive and all this business, but he wasn't as good as most of his fans make him out to be. And it's so interesting, it's like most of Mike Tyson's fanatics today are people who weren't even born or they weren't even old enough to have watched Mike Tyson fight live. Yeah, the heavyweight division when Tyson rose to prominence was a weak division. It was a weak division. Yeah, YouTube highlights can do that to people. Yes, yes, indeed. The Tyson fanatics are millennials. Yeah, people. Tyson highlights are very impressive. They are. You watch Tyson highlight reel knockouts, and it's incredible stuff. But highlight reels don't tell the full story. Armand says, did you see the vid with AB's girl talking to Wilder? I take it by AB you're talking about Broner, right? I haven't seen that. Mike did the best with his physical abilities, and in my opinion, he is the last of the great short heavies. It certainly appears so, innit? It's been a long time since we've seen a great short heavyweight, because there was Joe Frazier, who was around in the 70s, and then Mike Tyson came along in the 80s. So you only had to wait just over a decade between when Frazier was around and when Tyson came along. But after Tyson, it's been, what, 20 years since Mike Tyson was a world-class fighter, or more? I want to say more than 20 years. Alright. Alright, Lane is either trolling or he's demented, so let's do him a favor here. Let's do him a favor. Let's do him a favor. He's just itching to join that block party. So let me give him what he wants. Yeah, what would you call short? I think that's a good question, because what short today is not necessarily short 20, 30. And 30 years ago, a guy who was 6'3", 6'2" was a tall heavyweight. Today, that's a relatively short heavyweight. So I get your point. Team Batman Boxing, big up. George Arias is short. Yeah, George Arias is about 6 feet tall now, I believe. Arias. Derek Chisora is considered short, and he's like 6'1". So yeah, I say, pretty much everyone's saying anything under 6'3" is a short heavyweight now. Yeah, I would say so, because we're in the land of the giants these days. 6'1" maybe. Some people are saying that's short for a heavyweight today. All right, so here comes John Ryder on the way to the ring. All right, shout for Annie Tucker So wherever you are in the world, Annie Tucker, big shout out from Hatman. Povetkin is a pretty good small heavyweight, says Volta. Olympic gold medalist, being heavyweight champion, only lost to Klitschko. Yeah, Povetkin's about 6'2", I believe. But in terms of a guy who's gonna come through and be the main man in the division, we haven't had a short heavyweight who's been the main man since Mike Tyson. Joe Frazier was the main man for a time, and he was a short heavyweight. Before him, there was Marciano, who was the main man, a short heavyweight. Then in the 80s, Tyson came along. He was the main man as a heavyweight. But since Tyson, we have not had a short heavyweight that has been the main man in the division since Tyson. There hasn't been one. And people really want one, because a lot of these short heavyweights are exciting. You know, Marciano exciting, Frazier exciting, Tyson probably the most exciting heavyweight of all time. I mean, Mike Tyson used to fight. The anticipation before the opening bell was incredible, because you knew there was no feeling out process with Mike Tyson. As soon as the opening bell goes, Tyson is flying out of the corner like a bat out of hell. And he's launching atom bombs from the opening bell. That's why Tyson fights were so exciting, because he ain't waiting for nothing. Yeah, Tyson. Graham McCann says 4 podcasts this week. Hatman, love them, boss. Respect. Yes, respect to Graham. Big up. Thank you for supporting on Patreon. Glad you're enjoying the content, and hopefully you'll like the African witchcraft interview that I'll be uploading on Tuesday. I was laughing my head off during that interview, man. Some bizarre stories. Alright, Same Hussein says, got suspended from O2 for evicting a violent customer. Can you believe that the manager even asked me to take him out? Yeah, man, it's not easy doing security, man. You can catch cases, and that's why I had to get out of that business, man. Doing the nightclub security and all that. You can catch cases. Flux Without Pause says Tyson's 18-punch combo to finish off Pinkland Thomas was devastating. Yeah, it was. You know, that was crazy. That Pinkland Thomas, that was crazy, that finish. And yeah, just as Anthony said, the first round against Thomas was crazy too. Like, Tyson just tore into the guy. Thomas always had an iron jaw, by the way. You know, the way Thomas was able to take Tyson's best shots in that first round was insane. But Thomas always had a good chin. If you saw him fight Mike Weaver, he took Mike Weaver's best shots. And Tyson had to unleash 18 of his hardest shots on Pinkland Thomas to actually finally get him on the floor. The guy was teak tough. AZ Boxing says, if Jamie Cox had bodies under his floorboards, would anybody be surprised? Jamie Cox had some type of conviction, right, for I think assaulting an ex-girlfriend or something like that. Some Eastern European girl who he was seeing at the time. And I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but you can look this up on Google. He was convicted for breaking into her flat to retrieve some of his stuff, and yeah, he broke into her flat to retrieve some of his stuff, and she locked herself in her room, and he was telling her, like, I'll break your jaw or I'll knock you out, like banging on the it was like some Here's Johnny The Shining type business, the way that it was described in the newspaper. Jamie Cox is a bit of a wild one, no doubt. He does have a very intense look in his eye, doesn't he, Jamie Cox? Alright, here we go. Ryder versus Cox. Let's see. The two southpaws. Yep, Cox getting straight down to business. Good stuff. Throwing the big left hands. Getting stuck in right away. Cox wearing the Grants. Ryder wearing the Rivals. The Guerrero. Which are the most comfortable fight gloves I've personally ever tried. Is the Rival Guerrero gloves. Wicked gloves. They're just so comfortable. Just the ergonomics of them is incredible compared to any other fight glove I've tried on. Love them Rival Guerreros. And they come in two versions. One with high density foam and the other one with, I think it's either pure horsehair or it's low, you know, density foam, as in like softer foam and horsehair. It might be a combination of the two. But basically one of the gloves is harder than the other. You know, one of the versions of the glove is harder than the other. But yeah, wicked gloves. I've never actually tried on the Grant fight gloves. I've tried on Grant sparring gloves, but I don't know how similar they are to the fight gloves. Both these guys, Cox and Ryder, are relatively good on the inside. They're good at shortening their punches and what have you. Ryder prefers to fight on the outside when he can, but he's quite good at shortening his shots and exchanging up close. He just prefers not to, because he's not that tough, John Ryder, compared to a lot of the other fighters out there. I remember when he fought Nick Blackwell, and he was lighting Nick Blackwell up like a Christmas tree in the early part of that fight. But Blackwell weathered the storm, and he eventually managed to wear John Ryder out. John Ryder just came apart in that Blackwell fight. It was so weird. Because Ryder was just battering Nick Blackwell in that fight. Oh man, okay. Some internet tough guys over here. Okay, let's put my man in the. Let my man join the block party again. Enjoy. Internet gangsters. I think Cox is finding it a little awkward facing another southpaw at the moment. Ryder, to me, looks a little more comfortable at fighting another southpaw than Cox does at this stage. Right, Brundle20 says, who are you picking, Hatman? Bellew or Haye? I'm picking Haye. Okay, Global Entertainment wants to join the block party. Okay. YouTube has held that his comments for review. I think YouTube is blocking them as spam anyway. Alright, let's see this little replay here. Good shots there from John Ryder when Cox was pushing him to the ropes. Yeah, Ryder shortening the punches very well and getting the shots in. Let's see if Ryder's heart and his will can stand up to the pressure of Jamie Cox this time, because as I say, he's wilted before John Ryder. He's had very good starts in his fights previously, but he just, in a battle of attrition, he's come apart before. Let's see if he can hold it together this time, because he is the better boxer, there's no doubt. There's no question about that going in. Ryder was oh down goes Jamie Cox, and he's hurt. Oh, he's knocked out. Oh my days. Wow. Nah, Jamie Cox, he don't need to be complaining about that because he left it too late before he got up. Excellent win for John Ryder. I was tipping Cox. I thought Cox might be able to get to him late, you know, grind him down, but no. John Ryder did it. John Ryder did it. That was a good performance by John Ryder. Good performance. Someone here saying Cox is overrated. Same Hussein saying Cox is overrated. I don't know if Cox is overrated. I mean, him and Ryder are like the same kind of level. That was my perception anyway going in. They're not world level guys. But yeah, man. Ryder did it. That was a good win. It was a good win. I want to see a replay. Were those headshots that hurt him? Or was it a body shot? Because he took George Groves' headshots quite well. You know, he never went down from any George Groves headshots. It was the body shot from George Groves that put him on the floor. And yeah, he did quit, to be fair. You know, they say. Well, did he quit? He went down from a body shot. Is going down from a body shot and staying down quitting? Depends what kind of pain you're in, you know. I do want to see the replay of that. That's a good win for John Ryder, man. Let's see here. On the forehead. Or maybe the temple. Difficult to see from that angle. But that scrambled his senses. Yeah. Delayed reaction. Yeah. Delayed reaction. Yeah, it proper scrambled his senses. Because even when he got up to one knee, you could see he was unsteady. Yeah, he was unsteady. I mean, is it kind of a shot at high on the head or on the temple that just scrambled him? Now, I don't think Cox bottled it. I think Cox was just gone. He was just gone. He wanted to get the full count because he was hurt. He was badly hurt. You see his body there in the replay? His legs wobble. It scrambled his senses. And he was like, you know what? I cannot get up too quickly because I'm not right here. So I don't want to say he bottled it. He just, you know, he just got hurt. It was a good shot. It was a good shot, man. Good win for John Ryder. It was on the forehead. It looked like it was on the forehead, not even on the temple, which is a strange place to be, you know, scrambling someone when you hit them on the forehead. But hey, bang. Yeah, just his leg. See how his leg gave out there in the replay? Scrambled him. Yeah, Deontay hit some dude that same way he did. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Deontay, no matter where he hits you on the head, you're gonna have problems. Yeah, you only be letting Deontay Wilder hit you on the head, man. Any which way. Wherever he hits you on the forehead, on the chin, on the cheek, on the nose, like, don't be letting Deontay Wilder land that right hand on you. Don't do that. Any way you can avoid it, avoid it. John Ryder. Good win for Ryder. Good win. Good win. Mm-hmm. Yeah, happy for John Ryder, man. You know that he's getting some success now late in his career. Happy for him. Was this fight a super middleweight, by the way, people? Was this a middleweight? Forgive my ignorance. Okay, super middleweight. Alright. Fight is a super middleweight fight. Thank you. Thinking stay down. Stay down, please. See, well, Cox was putting some heat on him because he was thinking stay down. You know, a lot of times guys, when their opponent goes down, they're like, get up, get up. I want to finish you. Ryder was like, nah, stay down. I don't want that heat, boy. Alright, your mama 86 says, are you watching it or are you listening to people watching it, man? I'm obviously watching it. I wouldn't waste my time listening to somebody watching it. I'm watching it. The idea is that I watch it at the same time everybody else is watching it, and you know, give you my live reaction to it. Edward. Alright, can we get the I'm just listening to the post-fight interviews here, people. So excuse my silence. Yeah, the Indian summer, like I was talking about. He's having this Indian summer, this success late on in his career. Happy for him, and it's finally coming together for John Ryder. So, oh, Mr. Solitude, big up, big up, big up every time, Mr. Solitude, man. Always coming with the funny comments, Mr. Solitude, big up. Yeah, scrambled him. Got some eggs in the morning. Bang. His leg just went, boy. Alright, Jordan says, beg you comment on the incompetence slash genius of LDBC. I don't even know what the LDBC is. I know it's some kind of boxing community on YouTube, but I don't. What does LDBC stand for? I don't know what it is. And I don't follow the channels who are in the LDBC. Whatever channel. I don't follow them. I follow very few boxing channels. I follow like Dwyer, Boxing Gossip, Chris Andre, Boxing Beats and Rhymes. Like, there are not that many channels I actually follow. Okay, LDBC is Lions Den Boxing Community. So I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to many channels, to be fair. You know. Alright, someone says, live streaming from your PS4, come on bro, up the production quality. Well, sometimes I stream from my PC too, but I'm streaming from my PS4 now because I'm watching the fight on my laptop, so I can't stream because it will capture my desktop, right? If I stream now from my laptop, it's going to be showing the actual fight because I'm watching the fight on my laptop. And so I had to stream from my PS4. Jack Napier boxing, how went John Ryder? John Ryder knocked out Jamie Cox in the second round with one punch. A right hook and knocked him out. That's how it went. It was the second round, wasn't it? Not the first round. Okay, I guess they're gonna show this. Oh, Luke Campbell. Okay. Luke Campbell. Is he still wearing them 25-year-old boxing boots? No, he's not. Because when he fought Linares, he wore the same boxing boots that he wore in the Olympics. They look like antiques. Luke Campbell has improved ever since he got them American trainers. You know, he's now trained by some Americans. To me, he's noticeably improved. He's more fluid. He just looks like a much more polished professional since changing his training team. And he did well in that Linares fight. He did well. Let's see what Campbell does here, people. He's fighting a very short dude who isn't in good condition, who looks like he should not be fighting in the same weight class as Campbell. He's wearing them same new style Everlast fight gloves. I'd like to try them on. Why am I getting these weird numbers all over my Sky Sports stream on the screen? What are these numbers about? Man, sort it out, Sky. Getting these random numbers, man. Someone put VipBox in the chat. Yeah, it's like I'm watching VipBox with these random. Why am I getting pop-ups on a Sky stream that I paid for? No, this ain't the watermark. This is not the This is like in the middle of the screen. Like not at the side of the screen in the corner. In the middle of the screen I was getting some. No, okay, the numbers have disappeared now, but they were there for quite a while and they intermittently pop up and start moving all around the screen. boy James, huh? Nice left hands from Campbell. Nice body shots. Straight left hands down the middle. He's fencing with the left hand. I wish he was, sorry, the right hand. Wish he would stick the right hand a bit more. All right. Oh, okay. Some special effects there from young Campbell. Campbell's like 30 years old, but he looks about 12. He's such an optical illusion, this guy. Jack Napier Boxer says, Hatman, do you think I can watch the fight on my phone? I mean, I don't know, maybe. But because it's box office, apps like what's the app now that I've got on my phone for streaming? What's it called? Where's my phone? Where the hell's my phone? It is. What's the app called? Let me see. Okay, apparently there's a box office app. The app that I've got for streaming for free is called Mobdro. Yeah, but Mobdro doesn't show Sky box office, as far as I know anyway. There's no Sky box office on there. So alright, Faisal says, who is left to fight tonight, Hatman? I think there might be one more fight and then the main event, or it might be the main event next. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100%. They might show the Money Powell fight before the main event. I don't know if the Money Powell fight has already happened. It was only a 4-rounder. They might possibly show it before the main event. If not, then the main event should be next. Rewold says, Hatman, have you noticed how empty the O2 is? That's because this fight happened earlier. This fight isn't live. When you see Haye and Bellew walk to the ring, you'll see that the arena's got loads of people in it. But this fight was filmed earlier, so it was empty at the time. Joseph Starlin says, Hatman, do you know Adamek knocked out Joey Abel? No, but I don't. Are we still tracking Adamek's career at this point? I mean, all right, Global Entertainment. Yeah, I mean, sorry. I have been told several times that he needs to join the block party, so sorry, I finally got him. He's just spamming the hell out of the comments. Jesus. Take it easy. Am I streaming the fight? Yes, I'm streaming the fight, but I'm streaming it on a proper stream, on an official stream, on a paid for stream, a Sky stream. Joseph Stalin says, seriously, Adamek is looking great with a new trainer. I think he can still have good fights. Forgive me for being skeptical, Mr. Stalin. I was watching some World War II documentary series the other day, actually. You know, I never realized Joseph Stalin was so short. He was like 5'3" or something. or something, or 5'4", like proper short. And he used to wear like platform shoes to make himself taller. uh, round 3, Campbell versus this dude, Troy, whatever he's called. Chris Beckford says, "Yo, Hatman, if David Haye wins the fight in style, you reckon he'll look to fight Dillian Whyte to get straight into a title shot?" Yeah, he may. If that's the quickest way for him to get a title shot, he might go through Dillian Whyte. But looking at David Haye's previous history, he's not someone who likes to fight in eliminators. David Haye likes to get a straight crack, a voluntary shot at a champion. He doesn't like going through eliminators and becoming mandatory and all that. He's not into all that, David Haye. So if he can just get a straight crack at a Joshua or a Wilder, or even a crack at the WBA regular belt, that's what David Haye will try and do, rather than go through a Dillian Whyte or a Kubrat Pulev or a Luis Ortiz. He'll just go straight for the champion. And if he wins against Bellew and it is spectacular, then he might not have to go through the mandatory route, because he might still be big enough as a commercial entity to entice one of these champions to take him on as a voluntary defense, because he still sells tickets. Did Fish Eyes come after me the other week? No, Fish Eyes did not come after me. No, Fish Eyes did not come after me. I've always been careful about what I say when it comes to Fish Eyes, you know. And my issue with Fish Eyes has never been any kind of, you know, it hasn't been based on anything he's done to me. It's been based on the way he's treated certain fighters over the years. That's been my issue with Fish Eyes, and why I've been critical of him. You know, it hasn't been to do with him, you know, being a terrible promoter, or, you know, me having any kind of personal situation with him. It's not based on that. It's just based on the way he's treated fighters over the years. uh all right. Pro Dog has got a pretty interesting interpretation of what LGBT means. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it is that. I don't know, bro. uh, Alright, Pro Dog says, how can you watch Sky on your laptop legitimately? You just type in Sky Box Office into Google and how to watch on a laptop, and it will give you the option of purchasing the pay-per-view on your laptop or on an Android device, or I think on an iPhone, you know, on an Apple device too, I think. The boxing roundup says, Hatman, I thought you weren't gonna pay for the fight. Did I say I weren't gonna pay for the fight? I can't remember. Well, I'm paying. I paid for it. Eddie Hearn has taken my money. Ain't the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Yeah. So maybe I said it weren't gonna pay. I don't know, man. I've ended up paying for it. At the end of the day, I watch these fights not only for my own entertainment, but also because I'm reviewing the fights, right? I'm creating content for YouTube. And sometimes I just don't want the hassle of having to find a decent stream, because some of the illegal streams are so choppy and stop start, and then you have to switch. You'll find a good stream which is like HD, and then it will cut off halfway through, then you have to go switch to a next stream, and I just couldn't be bothered this time around. Normally I go through the process, but sometimes I'm like, you know what, let me just buy it. I can't be bothered. If it's a card I really don't care about that much, I often don't watch it live at all. I'll catch it when someone uploads it to Daily Motion the next day. you know. Alright, come on, Campbell, get this guy out of here. We want to see Bellew Haye. We want to see the main event. Let's do it. Leo O'Brien says, love to hear your experiences with women as a Patreon podcast. Yeah, there'll be that coming. I need to be a bit careful though, because there was a couple. See, this is why I try and stay anonymous online, because there was a couple girls, one girl in particular, who I tried to not let her know about my YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. And when the situation went left between me and this girl, she started signing up to my Patreon. She started stalking me on YouTube when she found out about my channel, leaving off-key comments and stuff like that. So I'm like, in real life, you gotta be careful, man. So if I start talking about women and whatnot, man, it's some of these crazy chicks, man. Yeah, Campbell's in a vicious mood right here. He's in a vicious mood. He's fighting this guy like he stole his lunch money, and he ain't had a proper meal in a week. Come on, man, get this guy out of here. Yeah, drink water got jokes. Drink water got jokes. Fight from earlier on is over. Hopefully we can move on to the main event now. There's still all these donuts saying when are you gonna put the fight on? When have you ever watched the Sky box office fight on YouTube, bro? Like, Jesus Christ. Read the title. It says live reaction. There is no fight here. Read the title. Read the description. Yeah? Even the description says this is not a stream of the fight. It's a live reaction. Christ almighty. Yeah, shout out to Graham, man. Shout out. Alright, please, let's have the main event now. Enough of all these preliminaries. Anthony Joshua standing like a bouncer. Look at him. That's how bouncers stand. That's how bouncers stand. Graham McCann says, Hatman, do you like the Magic Man as a pundit? Yeah, I do. I do, man. I like his fast talking Italian style. Magic Man said the other day in some interview that if you're not on performance enhancing drugs, then forget about ever becoming a top level fighter. That's what he said in an interview the other day. If you're not on performance enhancing drugs and you're a professional boxer and you're hoping to get to the top, you might as well go take a day job. Because you ain't going to get to the top without being on PEDs. Lewis Hurley says, you team Haye or team Bellew, Hatman? I'm not on team anyone. But I think Haye's going to win. I'm picking Haye to win. Obviously, it wouldn't shock me at all if Bellew won. He won the first fight. But, yeah, I'm picking Haye to win. Anthony Joshua talks like a guy who's reading off auto cue when there's no auto cue. You know them ones there. It's like if you just heard him talking, you think, okay, this guy's reading off an auto cue, but there's no auto cue there. please, let's put the main event on, man. I wish it was like the World Boxing Super Series. You know, with the World Boxing Super Series, all the main events start at 10 UK time, right? They all start at the same time. And that's how they have it with, like, you know, football matches and many other sports. They have the kickoff time, the start time of the main event at a specific time. I don't know why they don't do that more with boxing. You know? Don't know why they don't do that more with boxing. Obviously, different fights last a different amount of time, but they should allow for that. You know, there's going to be first round, but when it, you know, the undercard, cool. It's going to be difficult to track when all the fights are starting and whatnot. But the main event, they need to allow time on the undercard so that the main event can always start at a specific time. As I say, the World Boxing Super Series managed to do it. So why not have it on most of these big boxing shows? Jack Johnson says, Hatman, what are your thoughts on Eddie Hearn saying Joshua would drop the WBA belt rather than go to Russia if Ryder wins a purse bid? Did Eddie Hearn say this? Where did he say it? Drop us a link. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did drop it, you know, based on what's happened with Povetkin in the past and what's happened on Ryder shows. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, they'll definitely want to get that fight in the UK if they can. David Haye. A hilarious character, boy. David Haye. Railroad says, do you think if you took a jab from AJ, do you think it would knock you out? No. Definitely not. You know, I've taken plenty of jabs from heavyweights, and no. Leo O'Brien says, Hatman, James Toney or Bernard Hopkins at middleweight, who wins? Great fight, a fight I always wanted to see, a fight which James Toney said that Bernard Hopkins was avoiding for many, many years. In their primes, I would say James Toney. I would say James Toney. He was a very good counter puncher. He would wait for Hopkins because Hopkins likes to move around and then jump in with something unexpected. I think Toney would catch him when he jumps in. I'm not saying Toney knocked him out, but I think Toney would be able to counter punch effectively when Hopkins jumps in. So I'm going to say Toney. A prime Toney against a prime Hopkins. I'm saying Toney wins on points. Ring walks finally. My stream is on an ad break, so hopefully when it comes back from the ad break, I get the ring walk. The boxing roundup says, am I alone thinking Bivol could beat Kovalev? Bivol looks very, very dangerous to me, but whether or not he could beat Kovalev, I don't know. He needs to. I'd like to see him in a few more fights. I'd like to see him in there with somebody who can punch, because you know the punching power that Kovalev has is unlike anything Bivol has faced as a professional. But then again, you could probably say vice versa. How many big punches has Kovalev really faced as a pro? So, but I can't, you know, diss anybody who would pick Bivol to beat Kovalev. I can't diss it because Bivol looks very, very dangerous. Fast hands, very fast hands, powerful, accurate. I like what I've seen from Bivol so far. Looks very explosive. Good boxer. You know, he looked tiny next to Sullivan Barrera, but he was just battering him the whole fight, you know. Carl Jordan says, does anyone think Billy Joe can take Triple G? I'd love to see that fight. Well, Triple G I think is on the way out, but if you are talking about a Triple G from a couple fights ago, and when I say on the way out, I think he's past his best. Let's just put it that way. Or I don't think he's like shot or anything, Triple G, but I think he's already peaked. That's what I mean to say. But if you're talking about a peak Triple G, who would win out of a peak Triple G and Billy Joe? I'm picking a peak Triple G every time. Every time. You know, Triple G is a far, far, far cry from David Lemieux. I think a lot of people are getting carried away by the David Lemieux thing. Lemieux's got terrible balance. Terrible balance. Chris Beckford says Triple G has plateaued. Yeah, he's plateaued, and he may be going slightly back over the plateau now on the way down. Yeah, but I think at the very least he's plateaued. Yeah. All right. How long is this ad break on Sky, man? Jesus, this break is taking forever. Yeah, it seems like Sky really are trying to make. Rewold says Sky really are trying to make their fight start at 10:30, like they said, the mugs. So I guess what I was talking about earlier. Maybe they are doing it. Maybe they are trying to have a fight start at a specific time. Speaking of which, oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let me put my mic on mute for a second here, people, because I need to go and drain the weasel. So yeah, be back in a couple before the main event starts. Alright, I'm back, people. I am back. Now let's get this main event on. So what are you saying, people? Final predictions from everybody. What are you guys saying? Who's going to win this fight? How is the fight going to play out? It's crazy looking at David Price next to Anthony Joshua, how much bigger David Price is. Oh, pricey. Pricey, pricey, pricey. Value for money, pricey. Marcel says Golovkin is half Russian. Yeah, I think he's like, is he half Russian, half Korean? But he was born in Kazakhstan, right? But ethnically, I think he's half Russian, isn't he? And half Korean. But grew up in Kazakhstan, or maybe they moved to Kazakhstan when he was very young. I'm not sure which. Chris Beckford says Hatman chess match from the off, but I think after Haye picks up the rounds, he'll go for the late stoppage. Yeah, he may well. He may well go for the late stoppage. He may well. Whether he'll get it or not is a different matter. Whether he'll injure himself or walk into something trying to go for it is also another matter. You know, we'll see how cautious Tony Bellew is in the later rounds if he's losing. If he decides to gamble or if he decides to stay in his box and try and survive. Because, as I say, Bellew has had fights where he's boxed completely negative for the whole fight, including his losing performance against Adonis Stevenson. He was getting outboxed every single round against Stevenson, but he didn't try to switch it up. To be fair, the fight only went... How long did the Stevenson fight go? Was it 7 rounds, was it? Bellew Stevenson. So maybe if it had gone 10, maybe Bellew would have tried to pick it up since he was getting outboxed. But through the first half of the fight, Bellew did not attempt to attack Adonis Stevenson. He just stayed on the back foot and made no adjustments while he was getting outboxed. You know? So, to be fair, Bellew does look a lot sharper for this fight. You know, in the public workout and whatnot, he looked a lot sharper than he did last time around. And he's coming a bit lighter as well. He's 3 pounds lighter for this fight than he was for the first fight. And Tony Bellew claims that the scales were off. The scales were weighing heavy. So I guess he thinks he's more than 3 pounds lighter than, you know, the first fight. Okay, thank you. The first... the Bellew Stevenson fight went 6 rounds, says Danny. Yeah, so through those 6 rounds, look how Bellew performed, man. He was cautious. He lost every round, and he never tried to go for it. He never tried to go for it. May the best man win, says NFL Kid. Indeed. Little Jacob says Adonis got Bellew's respect with his punching power. Indeed he did. Indeed he did. He got that early. I mean, Bellew knew anyway going into the fight that Stevenson was a serious puncher, so he went in there with a game plan of trying to stay on the back foot and box. Because Bellew, going into the Stevenson fight, you know, Bellew was acting as though it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to win. You know, he said, oh, all Stevenson's really got is power. He's, you know, I'm going to be able to do this, that, and the other. Didn't work out. Alright, here comes the haymaker coming to the ring. Man like David Haye. No stopping us now. Larry Holmes used to play this on the way to the ring too. Alright, David Haye's wearing the Fly fight gloves. This is the first time that he's worn those fight gloves. That's interesting. There's a lot more British boxers are wearing those gloves now. I think even Linares took his pair that he got over to the US with him to train with at least. So this is the first time David Haye has worn these kind of fight gloves, Fly. He obviously likes them. That was a big side air from David Haye. Big sigh. Look at Johnny, boy. Johnny's loving the show. Ain't no stopping us now. Yeah, some people have questioned David Haye's height. They said that Bellew looks taller, so maybe Haye's closer to 6'2" than 6'3". I mean, possibly. A lot of fighters exaggerate their heights. It's quite common. Mike Tyson, throughout his whole career, tried to beg an extra inch and a half on his height. You know, he always had himself at 5'11" and a half, but later on in his career they managed to measure him properly and he's only 5'10". So many fighters will try to steal an inch or two here or there. It's quite common. I think they believe they gain some kind of psychological edge from it. I don't know. Maybe it's a marketing thing, you know. When fighters are on the way up and they have a promoter, particularly a heavyweight, they want to try and make them out to be as big and bad as possible so that people believe in them more, you know. I don't know. Ain't no stopping us now. You know, he's trying to soak in the atmosphere here, but to me, he looks like a man who knows his career is on the line. This don't look like the haymaker of old getting into the ring. He looks like he knows this is D-Day right here. You know, not quite as nonchalant as the old David Haye used to be. We'll see whether that works to his advantage or disadvantage in a few moments here. Alright. Let's get my laptop in the right position here. Alright. Danny Devlin, thank you. Alright, let me concentrate fully on the fight now when it starts and give you my live commentary on it. Steve Green says got a bad feeling about this fight. Bad feeling for who? I mean, it don't matter to us who wins, right? Unless you got a bet, then and I ain't bet on the fight. So if you ain't bet on the fight, ain't nothing to worry about. Will Tony Bellew talk about going home to his wife and kids at some stage tonight? Are the bookies taking bets on that? That's what I want to know. Bellew talking about his wife and kids. That's the thing, Cynical Sonny. Will Bellew make it home to them? This is what we're all most concerned about. Okay, the Gypsy King in the house. Big up. That's all that matters, same. That's all that matters. Alright, Clifton Mitchell in the house. Short Legs Dave Coldwell in the house. Alright, Tony Bellew on the way to the ring now. Okay. Someone says Tony looks a bit more relaxed. Yeah, he does to me too. David Haye looks tense to me. He looks tense to me. And David Haye is somebody who normally thrives on pressure. But Haye looks tense to me, man. He looks tense. Not intense, because last time around Haye looked intense. Like he looked angry. This time around, he don't look angry. He looks nervous. Noticeably nervous. Like the pressure is telling on him at the moment. We'll see if he can make that work for him or not. You know, when you're nervous in a boxing ring, I always tell people, like young amateurs and whatever, the most important thing is focus on not getting hit. Yeah, fight defensively until your nerves dissipate. Don't try and do too much when you're nervous. You know, that's what I always say. Okay, short break. Going to adverts again. Jesus. What a time to take an ad break, boy. Michael Buffer has sorted out his face, because you know Buffer's had like loads of work done on his face, you know, plastic surgery and whatnot, and he got to the point where he was looking off key with all the plastic surgery. But maybe he's had more plastic surgery to correct the other plastic surgery to make him look like a human being again. I don't know, because he's looking relatively normal now. Or maybe it was the fake tan that he had before, which was making him look weird, you know, because he was proper orange at one point, where now he's like, he looks more normal again. Alright, I'm gonna go full screen now. Let me see. Okay, so my replies to your comments are gonna be intermittent right now. Alright, I'm gonna concentrate more on the fight. So let's do it, man. Bellew versus Haye, the rematch. Let's see what this is all about. And Haye's still getting a fair amount of boos, man. But he looks nervous, man. Haye looks mad nervous to me. It's so unusual to see Haye looking nervous like that. He's a very experienced pro, but he realizes his career really is on the line. Let's see if he's relaxed when he comes out. He looks very nervous to me. Unusually nervous for a guy with so much experience. Bellew looks way more relaxed here than David Haye. And the energy of both fighters is so important, you know, in terms of who looks relaxed versus who looks calm. Normally the guy who's calm has an advantage, especially in terms of preserving energy. The guy who's nervous, tense, they're going to burn up energy quicker, and they're more liable to make mistakes if he's nervous. Bellew looks very, very calm. So let's see how this first round goes. Going to be very, very interesting here, people. David Haye is back to wearing his old shorts. So from a psychological point of view, Haye really is trying to recapture his youth, because he's wearing the old shorts that he used to wear back in his prime days with the Union Jack on them and that. And this is the first rematch David Haye's had as a pro. Correct me if I'm wrong. He ain't had any other rematches, has he? So this is a new experience for David Haye. The first rematch. Tony Bellew's had rematches. He had the Cleverly rematch. He had the Chilemba rematch. David Haye never had a rematch before. Or maybe that's playing into why he looks nervous. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what happens here, people. First bell. Okay, here we go. Haye Bellew 2. Okay, Bellew lets the first right hand go. Okay, Haye throwing the right hand there. Alright. Some triple jabs there from Tony Bellew. Haye still looking obviously not like his old self. Still looking awkward, but he's being a lot more cautious about the punches he's throwing in this first round than he was in the first fight. A lot more cautious. Yep, cautious start so far through the first minute of the first. Jabs from David Haye, jabs from Bellew. Good jab from Haye there. Haye blocked that jab there from Bellew. Bellew going for a left hook to the body. Haye pulls out of the way of Bellew's jab. Cagey start. Good jab there from Haye, which did land. I think Haye is slightly winning the battle of the jabs here. Oh, Haye went with a right hand, didn't land flush. Haye at the moment is winning this first round for me, just with slightly cleaner jabs here. Another nice jab there from David Haye. The reach advantage of David Haye is serving him well at the moment. He's just a couple of inches better off in the reach department, and that's working for him at the moment. There's not much in the first round, but I think Haye is edging it at the moment. Good jabs though back from Tony Bellew. There was a couple good jabs there. Right hand to the body there from Haye. Bellew back with a jab. Bellew tried to go with a right hand. I think it just bounced off Haye's shoulder. Nearly landed a left hook there. So a nice response from Bellew. The shots didn't land, but nice fast shots from Bellew. Haye back on the jab. Oh, good right hand from Haye. edged that first round for me. Haye is, you know, clearly way over the hill. He still looks a shadow of his former self, but he does look better than last time out. Not loads better, but he does look better than last time out, definitely. In the first round at least. So let's see how this one goes. Alright, start of the second round. Haye Bellew. A rematch. Haye just picked up the first round on my card, and I think the Sky team agreed. They had Haye winning the first. Let's see, second round. Relatively cautious start from both men. Both guys look sharper than the first fight. Bellew looks sharper. Not just Haye. Bellew himself looks sharper than the first fight. He looks sharper on the counter than he did first time around. Haye going with a right hand there. Didn't land properly. I mean, it's not a stinker so far, but it is relatively cautious, which is what I kind of expected. A cautious start. Haye don't want to make any mistakes. Bellew don't want to make any mistakes. Oh, Haye trying to go for it a little bit there. Good right hand to the body from Haye. Nearly got clipped with a right hook counter by Bellew. 1 minute left in the second round. Some of you guys who are watching it on television are probably about 30 seconds ahead of me. It is what it is. But on my Sky stream, good right hand from Haye. Haye winning the second round, even bigger than he won the first here. Haye definitely winning this second round. Definitely. Definitely. Bellew is allowing Haye to get the initiative here. Bellew needs to do something. He needs to stamp his authority here. You can't let Haye get off too many shots. Oh, nearly landed a terrific right hand there, Haye. He's looking for a big shot, but looking for it in a clever way. He's looking to sneak it in rather than force it. Yeah, Haye going for it here, not being as cautious as he was in the first. I mean, not going all out, but he's definitely looking for a knockout shot, or is at least trying to intimidate Bellew here. That was a David Haye round 2, so it's 2-0 to David Haye. He's won the first 2 rounds, no question. The second round, that was a clear David Haye round. Clear David Haye round. Will David Haye be able to keep this up for 12 rounds? Because Bellew, you know, once David Haye starts coming at him, Bellew goes into survival mode, and he's quite difficult to tag clean when he's in that survival mode. So David Haye might have to keep this up for 12 rounds and just keep Tony Bellew in his box. We'll see. Let's see this. Good right hand there from David Haye. Bellew was riding the punch. He was pulling away from the right hand in the second round, but it was a good shot. It was a good shot. Again, didn't feel the full force of that haymaker, but yeah. Alright, let's see. We're in the third round. We're 2 minutes 35 seconds gone, or not gone, but 30 seconds into the third round now. 30 seconds in. David Haye stalking Tony Bellew on the front foot, but relatively cautiously stalking. He's not going crazy here like he was in the first fight. Good right hand to the body from Bellew. That was a good response. Good shots from Bellew there. The right hand I don't think landed to the head, but it was the right idea. Okay, Haye going for it with the right hand again, but pulling back. He didn't go for Bellew there in the corner. He actually pulled back. Haye thinking about what he's doing. Bellew trying to counter punch. Haye is basically fighting a similar way to what I did in the first fight, just more cautiously, and his punches are not so wild. He's keeping the punches straight, and he's thinking about what he's doing. Whereas in the first fight, it was just like recklessness. Haye has neglected the jab a little bit here. I'm wondering if the left bicep, people rightly corrected me, it wasn't the right bicep that Haye injured at the end of last year. It was the left bicep. So I wonder if the left bicep will bother him at all in this fight, because the jab is going to be key for David Haye here, controlling the distance with the jab. This is a much closer round. This is a much closer round, this third round so far. Not much in it through the first 2 and a bit minutes. David Haye losing a bit of snap off the shots here. Lands a jab there. Nice snappy little jab there from Bellew. Not much on it, but it was a nice snappy shot. A much closer round. Haye missing quite wildly there, and Bellew also missing wildly. Oh, down goes David Haye. A right hand from Bellew. Down goes David Haye. Down goes David Haye. A right hand from Bellew dropped him. Caught him well, put him on the seat of his pants. David Haye legitimately hurt there. Oh, David Haye badly. Oh, down goes Haye again. Haye down again. Oh my God. David Haye's legs have turned to jelly. His legs have turned to jelly. The fight could be over here. End of the round. David Haye makes it out the round. His legs are gone. David Haye in serious trouble. Down twice in the third round. He was actually winning that round. He got overexcited. He got too ambitious, and he paid for it. He paid for it. David Haye should have stayed cautious boxing, but instead he went for it, and he got himself clipped and dropped twice. Bang. Right hand dropped him the first time around. Great right hook from Tony Bellew. Bang. Great shot from Tony Bellew down the middle. David Haye just getting way too carried away, trying to knock Tony Bellew out. Should have stayed cautious. Should have stayed behind the jab, and he paid for not doing so. And next knockdown, another left hook on the temple. Let's see if David Haye can survive this. Will he try go into survival mode, or will he try and get revenge on Tony Bellew? If he has any sense, he'll stay in survival mode, because he'll get himself knocked out. No, David Haye going for it. David Haye going David Haye going for it. Oh. David Haye's legs gone. Legs are gone. Haye getting wild again. He should be holding on. That's what David Haye should be doing. Instead of trying to fight back, his legs are gone. You can't fight back when your legs are gone like that, because you'll get clipped again. He should be holding on instead of firing back. Oh, David Haye get clipped again. He's going to get knocked out. He's going to get knocked out. Nah, David Haye, is the leg gone again? Is that what it is? Don't tell me it's the leg. Is it the leg or is it the leg or is he hurt? It looks like the leg's gone again, innit? That same injury again. It is the leg, isn't it? The leg has gone again, re-injured. Re-injured. Yeah, that leg is effed up. David Haye done, boy. David Haye done. His body's gone again. And you see, this is why I thought it was best for David Haye to box cautious, because going all out the way he tried to there, going for the knockout, that is when you end up injuring something. If he'd stayed cautious, he might not have injured himself there, you know. But he went for the knockout. He swung at Tony Bellew, and then he ended up getting clipped, you know, rather than staying cautious behind his jab. Big mistake from David Haye. This is looking like the first fight again. David Haye, he's done. He's overly done. I can't see how David Haye's gonna survive this. His leg doesn't look as bad as it did in the first fight. You know, he doesn't seem quite as bad on it. But yeah, I don't see how he's gonna survive this unless Tony Bellew really makes some horrific mistake. Yeah, the foot has gone again. The foot has gone again. He needs to stick on his jab. That's all David Haye can do at this point. Stick on his jab. Stop throwing the haymakers. You're wasting energy. I understand he needs to try and keep Tony Bellew off with something, but the jab is most important now, you know, for him. Tony Bellew, I mean, he should not be losing the fight at this point. Surely he can't. He can't lose the fight at this stage. If Tony Bellew loses this fight at this point, it will be the worst case I think I've ever seen of someone snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Like, he ain't supposed to lose this fight here, people. He's in full control. He's had 2 knockdowns, which is made up for the 2 opening rounds which he lost. So he had 2 knockdowns in the third and he won the 4th. So yeah, Bellew should be ahead by a point if my maths are serving me correctly. A point or 2 by now. Again, David Haye's foot doesn't seem so... I don't know, man. Did his foot go, or were his legs just gone because he was hurt? I don't know. No jab there from David Haye. Maybe the leg wasn't gone. I don't know. Maybe he was just mad hurt and it... because his legs were so wobbly, it looked like his ankle was gone again. Alright, David Haye back on the jab. That's what he needs to do. He needs to go to the body with a jab and then go upstairs with it. Okay, good jab there from Haye. Sharp jabs from Bellew. Not landing with much power, but still good snappy shots. Oh, Haye's down again. Haye down again. Going for the big shot. Down again in the 5th. This is surely the end. The end. David Haye's gonna get sparked out here, unless he holds on. Unless he holds on, he's gonna get sparked out. He's got a hold. Referee stops the fight. David Haye stopped in the 5th round. It was repeat. It was not revenge. Shout out to everybody who picked Bellew by KO. I thought Haye would box a lot more cautiously and, you know, maybe get the decision, but no. David Haye was far too intent on knocking Tony Bellew out. That was what backfired on him here. You know, far too intent on knocking Bellew out. If he just continued what he was doing in the first 2 rounds, being cautious, he might have been able to bluff his way to victory. You know, but no, he showed his hand way too early in the fight, trying to go for the knockout, and he got taken out. But then again, maybe David Haye knew that he didn't have it in him to go 12. Maybe that's why he was going for broke the way he was. Maybe he knew he didn't have it in him. Maybe he knew he couldn't go 12. Good performance by Tony Bellew. Good performance. And I don't want to blame David Haye's injury on this particular victory for Bellew. The first fight, yeah. This fight, no. Because Bellew landed the shots first, which dropped Haye, and then Haye hurt his ankle on the way down. You know, but he still landed the shots. Haye's ankle was okay up until he got hit with them left hooks. So you can't blame an injury on Haye losing this time. It was just Haye's recklessness, poor tactics, and Tony Bellew's good sharp counterpunching. So yeah, a legit win for Tony Bellew. Obviously a very over the hill shot David Haye, no question. But yeah, a legit win for Tony Bellew, no question about it. Repeat, not revenge. Alright, I'm going to end this live stream here, people, and do my post-fight video. So, yeah, catch you guys over there.